The Fantasy Skirmisher.
The dark skies are clearing, and you are well provisioned. Traveling deep into mountainous country outside Frostgrave, you spot a rune-covered obelisk atop a rocky outcrop that matches the description in the Tome of Murmurs. Yet again, the open hand seems to anticipate your every move and are closing in to attack. Unbeknownst to you, one of the cultists had infiltrated your warband. There is a traitor in your midst.
Scenario 3, The Traitor Among Us, is played on a 3-foot by 3-foot table. In the center of the table, you'll place a hill or a rocky outcrop, and then on top of that hill, place an obelisk. If you don't have one, that's fine. You could use a statue or a runestone or something like that. The rest of the table should be wilderness scattered terrain, such as rocks, trees, etc. And the north edge of the table is to be considered impassable mountainous terrain. Obviously, you don't need a backdrop like I have here, but just use the theater of the imagination and consider it impassable. And then you take your warband and replace them within 3 inches of the southern edge. And then finally, you're going to roll a die to determine placement of the first group of cultists. And a 1, 2, or 3, they're placed on the center of the east edge of the map. A 4 to 6, they would be placed on the center of the west edge of the map. So we have 5 cultists here. And one of the cultists placed must be either a bowman or a crossbowman. All right, so we've got our cultists. And now we are ready to start the scenario, but first we need to go over the special instructions. Five cultists enter the table on turn 2 during creature phase 2. So what you do is you roll a d6 to determine what center edge they enter. On a 1 to 2, they enter the west edge. On a 3 to 4, they enter the south edge. And on 5 to 6, they enter the east edge of the map. At least one of the cultists must be armed with a bow or crossbow. If the cultists don't have line of sight to any of the warband, then they move towards the obelisk. The wizard activates the obelisk by reading the magical runes on the deciphering medallion. To do so requires spending 1 action in base contact with the obelisk and succeeding a will roll with a target number of 16. Note that reading the runes must be done by the wizard, as it is still beyond the ability of the apprentice. After the obelisk is activated, its top begins to glow and shoots a beam of light at the sheer mountain face, exposing a secret entrance on the north side of the table. Place a door on the center edge. The warband will then have 2 turns, including the turn it was activated, to use the shadow key to open the revealed door before the beam of light stops and the door becomes hidden once more. The wizard may reactivate the column if needed, so using the shadow key does take an action to do. Whenever the obelisk is activated, you roll on the random encounter table to determine what creature shows up, and then you roll to determine on what board edge. So you can see here the encounters range from a snow leopard to, God forbid, a frost giant. After the obelisk is first activated, the cultist spy reveals his hand. The lowest cost surviving soldier in your warband is the traitor. If you have more than one, such as a thief or a thug, determine the traitor randomly. That soldier is now a cultist, but he uses his original stats and activates on the turn's creature phase 1. Note that if the traitor has the shadow key, you must kill him or her, then spend an action to search the body and retrieve the key. Also, if a warband member has the key and is knocked out, another member may do a search action to retrieve the key. So the objective of this scenario is to activate the obelisk, then enter the north edge of the mountainside through the secret entrance. Turn 1. Well, I need to get my wizard up here, and I need to get my apprentice to the base of the mountain to be able to open the door and make sure people get in. Complicating things, of course, we've got 5 cultists here, and they are just one move away from the ramp that goes up to the obelisk. So I'm going to have to fight right away, and I'm going to be a little bit understaffed, if that's the right word. I just don't have enough troops. So let's go ahead and we're going to start with the wizard phase, and I'm going to move everybody for the first move. And then we've got lagging behind Sigismund. He can only move 4 inches. It's right about here. Instead of casting Elemental Bolt, I think Cherry Bird is going to cast a wall spell. And he rolled a 20. I wish he would have cast Elemental Bolt after all. And it's definitely within 10 inches of the range. Sure is. And so that will force them to go around. Now for everybody else's actions that are going to move, I need to get my archer in a place where he can start taking some of these guys out. And so I think he's just going to move, position himself by the tree here, because they're going to come around. And then my zombie with a move of 4 can move 2 inches. And we have our thief moving 3 right here. All right, now we move on to the apprentice phase. Now in the apprentice phase, they're going to do a group activation, and they're all just going to do a double move, 9 inches. And now we move on to the creature phase. All right, now the cultists, they are going to, all move 6 inches. Let's get this out of the way. That crossbowman has a direct line of sight to Thomas, so he's going to take a shot. And Thomas rolled a 20, so the crossbowman missed. The rest of them are going to do a second move to try to get through the gap there. Turn 2, wizard phase. Cherry Bird's going to do a group activation. They need to move. That's the priority. So he's going to move. And then so is my thief. Thomas needs to make a move as well. And then finally we have zombified Sigismund. He is going to actually be a speed bump. All right, so now it's the second activation, or I should say second action. And Sigismund's going to do another move, 2 inches. And I think we're going to keep the thief right here, so when the cultists come, he could attack. So everyone else has got a 3-inch move. This is a bit rough, so they're just going to be right there and right there. All right, now we move on to the apprentice phase. Morkant, and the other two, they're just going to do a double move. And they're getting close to the base of the mountain there. It is now creature phase 2. And the first cultist runs up. For his second action, he attacks. He's got a +2 fight. The cultist rolled a 3. And Sigismund the zombie rolled a 2, so nothing happens. Oh yeah, they're definitely within 6 inches. So we're going to do a bit of a gang up here. Now the cultist is going to be the +2 support, +2 fight, +4 on his dice rolls. And the zombie rolled a 20 to the cultist 2. All right, Sigismund the zombie. He's really doing awesome. All right, so this cultist is dead. And then another one runs up. Does the same thing. We roll the dice. And the cultist rolled a 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 total to Sigismund's 2. Sigismund only has 3 health because he came into this scenario wounded already. So he is toast. But he did take a cultist out. All right, so this other cultist moves. I keep wanting to hit that tree. And everything else, apparently. And then my crossbowman moves. And for his second action, reloads. And actually, he has a second action he can take. So he's going to move again. So he gets right to the base here. And that concludes, well, not yet. We got reinforcements. So let me roll a die, see what we have. 5. So rolling a 5 means that the reinforcements arrive on the east edge of the table, the same spot where the original group came from. So here's the situation. We've got 9 cultists. Sigismund the zombie was a speed bump, but at least he took out one of the cultists. Cherry Bird is approaching the obelisk. And we've got Morkant approaching the base of the mountain. So we just need to get it open and then do a scramble into the entrance. Finally, we need to see if the wall crumbles or not. And 2. So yes, the wall crumbled. It is the start of turn 3, and we've got a lot of cultists on the board, but I'm feeling pretty good because I think I could manage the battlefield effectively. And the reason I say that is Morkant has the shadow key, and of course him and his party are making their way up to the base of the mountain to be able to unlock the door once it is revealed. And I was thinking about what spell I could cast to help Morkant in his role, and I think the best option for Cherrybird is to put a wall right here, which would effectively block these reinforcing cultists from trying to intercept Morkant. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and start now with the wizard phase. And of course, everyone has to move first. We'll start with Cherrybird, and he is exactly 6 inches to the obelisk. So he could use his second action to actually reveal it, but I need to buy some more time for Morkant. So he will be casting wall, or attempting to. And then we've got, of course, Thomas, my archer. He's just going to move on top of here. And I think I'm going to leave my thief right there, just to intercept. So I think I've got my plan in place. And now for the second action, And casting a wall right there, I could definitely do it. It's within 10 inches. So I just need to roll the die if I could find it. Here we go. All right, so we need a 10 or better. He rolled a 9, so I am going to focus and cut for 1 there. So he takes 1 point damage and is able to cast Wall. Hopefully it'll last longer than the other one. All right, so I think that is the best move we could do. Now, Thomas, he is going to attack the closest cultist. And he misses. Got a 5 to the cultist 18. Now, the apprentice phase, Morcant does a group activation, and they are all going to move up 9 inches doing a double move. And I am going to put Joan in between Morcant and my thug, Phineas, because just in case he's a traitor. Now the cultists are activating. So he moves 6 inches and attacks. The dice are rolled. The cultist rolled a 5, and Tom Bumblefinger rolled an 8. Plus their fight, nothing goes through. Now this cultist, he is able to get up there in 1 move, 6 inches. And also attacks. Now he's got a +4 with his support. The cultist rolled a 4 to Tom's 18. And so Tom wins. So he's got 19 total. And so that cultist is down to 1 health. All right, so, I think he's also going to push him back an inch. And now we have another cultist. Who's making his way up, but not quite able to reach. And then does a second move. And then finally we have, at least finally from this group, the crossbowman who's armed and ready to go does a move and takes a hasty shot against Thomas. And Thomas rolled a 16 to the cultist 6, and so misses. And per the special rules, if cultists don't have line of sight to anybody, which they do, Thomas, but they run to the obelisk. And so they're going to do a double move, which brings them all right behind the first group. And that concludes turn 3. Wizard phase turn 4, and I need to make sure I'm able to activate that obelisk and reveal that door. If not, I've got a lot of fighting to do. It's the wizard phase, and Cherrybert is going to use the deciphering medallion to attempt to reveal the hidden door. So he needs a roll of 16. He rolled a 14 plus his 4 will, so he successfully activates the obelisk, which shoots a beam of light and reveals a secret door into the mountainside. We now have a wandering creature that's going to come out, so we're going to roll 2 dice to determine where it comes and what it is. So we rolled a 6, so it's also entering from the east edge, and it rolled a 17, which is interesting. 3 more open hand cultists. I was hoping for a monster or a wild animal that could attack the cultists, but that's not to be. 3 cultists come out, and I have to proxy 1 with my treasure hunter, which was killed in the first game. And one of them is a bowman, because that's all I have. For Cherrybird's second action, he's going to try to cast Leap. Rolls the dice, rolls a 13. He made it because the casting roll is 10. And he leaps to 10 inches right here. And that'll leave Thomas to fend for himself and try to get to the base of the mountain. It is now creature phase 1, and we need to reveal who the traitor is. Is it the thug, Phineas Simpleton? Or is it the thief, Tom Bumblefinger? On a roll of 1 to 3, it is Phineas the thug. On a roll of 4 to 6, it is Tom the thief. It is a 3. So it is Phineas Simpleton, who looks like is going to stab Joan in the back. Phineas, for his first action, he moves up behind Joan and attacks. He rolled a 6, so a total of 8. Joan rolled an 11, plus 4 for a total of 15. Joan won, so she sensed the movement behind her, was suspicious, turned around just in time to parry his blow and strike back. Phineas has 10 health and also 10 armor, so he takes 5 hits and is down to 5 health. It is the apprentice phase, and he's going to do a group activation. He turns around and moves into Phineas. Joan is going to do the attacking. He's just going to play support, so she is a plus 6. The dice is rolled. She rolled a 16 plus 6 to Phineas's 9, so Phineas goes down. It is creature phase 2 and the cultists attack. Let's start with this one. He's going to attack Tom Bumblefinger. The dice is rolled, and Tom rolled an 18 plus 1 fight, 19 total. And the cultist rolled a 14. I rolled an 18, so Tom barely won. So this cultist is down to 1 hit point, and he gets pushed right off the cliff. The cliff here is 2 inches high, so there's no damage, which is unfortunate since he's down to 1 health. All right, so I think, speaking of 1 health, this guy's going to move up, even though he's gravely wounded. He's going to attack. He's got plus 2 support there. The dice is rolled, and he rolled an 18 plus 4. So my thief is now dead. Now this cultist crossbowman, he is going to reload and shoot. And rolled a 6, and Thomas rolled a 3, so the shot has no effect because it didn't penetrate his armor. This cultist now activates, and he runs up 6 inches and attacks. And Thomas rolled a 20 to the 10 that the cultist rolled, crit, and with 10 armor and 10 health, this cultist is dead. Now we have the other cultists, the rest of them here. There is a bowman, so he is going to actually move just right here, and he's going to take a shot. So we're going to roll the dice, and Thomas rolled another 20 to the cultist 12, so he missed. And the rest of the guys are going to do a double move, which the closest one brings him right to the top of the stairs, with the others following closely behind. Now we have these cultists that came in as reinforcements after the obelisk was activated. They're also going to do a double move. And since we have a dead cultist, finally, I can replace our former treasure hunter with a proper cultist. And now finally, we have this wall to see if it stays intact or crumbles. So roll a dice. It was 14, so the wall stays. I almost forgot the soldier phase. So I've already pre-measured this out, but Thomas is going to run away, make his escape, and goes down drops and then tumbles down the slope here for both his moves. And it looks like he's going to make a clean getaway. It's turn 5, the wizard phase. And I just realized I made a little tactical mistake when Morkant used one action to support Joan and Joan attacked. He should have used his second action to move back to the door so he could open it right away. He needs to open the door this turn since he has the shadow key, or else the door is going to disappear and the obelisk would need to be reactivated. But that clearly would not happen with this many cultists. We would just get slaughtered. All right, so I think my wizard, Cherrybert, is going to try to cast Elemental Bolt on this cultist right here. He has line of sight, but it looks like this cultist here is behind some light cover of the stairs. So I'm going to roll the dice here. And, I'm rolling for just to see if the spell is cast, and rolled a 17. And now we roll with a +7 shooting attack. And this is 12 inches away, by the way. The spell is 16 inches. All right, so Cherrybert rolled a 19 +7, so poof, this guy got disintegrated. And now it is creature phase 1. There is no creature phase 1, so it's the apprentice phase. And Morkant is going to run up to the door, and he unlocks it. It is now open. That was his second action. So now it is creature phase 2. I wish it was the soldier phase, but it's creature phase 2. And all these cultists here, they are going to start making their way towards the base of the mountain. The crossbowman's going to stop there, but and then reload. The cultists have taken their 2 actions, and it is time to get through the door. And this is exactly 9 inches, or 2 moves. Joan, she makes it through. And now we roll to see if the wall crumbles. 3, it does. And that is the end of the turn. New turn, it's Cherrybert's turn, wizard phase. He is just going to run in the door, and then the apprentice phase, group action, they run in the door, and that is game over. Let's determine the fate of Tom Bumblefinger. And he survives. So one of the things about this campaign, that it's a closely connected scenario. It's not like everyone goes back to their home base and recovers and heals, and any stragglers who are left on the battlefield manage to make their way back. So did he survive and go back to his home base, or did he manage to get into the door there just in time before it closed? We just, as observers of this game, were not aware. And so I think I'm just going to leave that up to you. I'm not going to try to define that in the rules or anything like that. But I'm just going to make a call for myself, since I've only got 4 people in the dungeon. And a 5th would be helpful, is that since he went down right here, perhaps he kind of tumbled off the cliff. He was not as injured as we thought. He was just knocked out of the battle. And he managed to make his way around as the cultists here were coming down, and he was able to get in the door just before it closed. So I think that's the call we're going to make. As you can see, we're moving into the final scenario in pretty good shape, which is a really good thing considering that we've lost half our party and everyone else is dead. And as far as the experience, we gained 175 XPs this scenario, and that enabled us to move up 2 levels. Since the final scenario takes place in a close quarters dungeon, I decided to level up my fight and also improve Elemental Bolt, where my casting roll is now 10. Thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe if you like what you're seeing here on the Fantasy Skirmisher. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.